Hey guys, welcome to the Vault. We are back with some more exclusive content. We got myself, Leon, Jason, and Pierre. Today we're going to be talking about the fitted drought of 2021. I know a lot of you guys might be confused about it, so we're going to kind of, give you the breakdown and talk you through and kind of give you some advice on how we're going to make it through alive. So, it's not all doom and gloom. Don't worry. But Pierre, take it away.
Yeah. So listen, I think now remember, like a lot of this stuff that I'm going to talk about with everybody today, and Leon and Jason are going to kind of add their 2 cents, is really about like bits and pieces that we've kind of picked up. So, I certainly am not going to share like who I picked things up from. It's, I'm just going to kind of collect like what I've heard and what I've been exposed to and share with everybody. So, first and foremost, we've talked a lot about the hype and how many fitted hats New Era 59fifties are going through these retailers and ending up in the public. I mean, there's a lot more collectors than there ever were. It's a much different ball game now, and it's intensified to its peak. Now, that's one component of it, right? So New Era is facilitating production at a level it's never seen before. Never seen before. So that's one part of it. Now, you also have factories that are in, I would say, not I don't know, third world countries, maybe borderline, countries that may not have the same sort of levers in place for things such as COVID. Sure. So we're at a place now. So there's a lot of different things going on, right? So you've also got to source materials.
Yes.
So if you were sourcing X amount of material and now, your production's doubled or tripled and you got to get 2 to 3 times as much of that with very little time to react or to ramp up, and you have COVID going on, there are all kinds of different shit going on. All of a sudden, this perfect storm kind of is created, right? Where you have a company that's doing 3 times as much as it ever has. It needs 3 times as much materials as it ever has, because that's kind of what goes along with it, right? And then on top of that, you have a pandemic that's affecting most of the world, right?
Yeah. And the labor to make this stuff.
So if you're getting this material from here and they're affected by COVID, there's no one able to source that material. Obviously, you're not getting it there, so you got to go somewhere else. And there's not a lot of time to react. So in New Era's defense, there's not a whole lot you can do here. You're kind of at the mercy of the hype and the pandemic, and they're kind of meeting together to create this big freaking mess, right?
Right. Yeah. So like New Era is like most manufacturing companies. They run a lean process, and they try and keep their production right at the level of demand. And for the most part, throughout their history, New Era did a great job of that. But what we've seen is that production has gone way down and demand has gone way up. So in economics terms, you got a inflationary scenario going on.
Market scarcity.
Yep. And a lot of that has to do with the pandemic.
And quite frankly, at this point, from what I've ascertained, there's only one factory now producing product for New Era, where there was 4 before, right? You had Bangladesh, China, Haiti, and Vietnam, right? Now it's just, and from what I understand, China.
Yeah, the other three areas are deeply into pandemic wave 3, 4. They basically cannot get workers into the factory.
Right. So now you're talking about hype, inability to source enough materials, and now let's all jam that into one factory.
We also haven't talked about the logistics of getting materials over here, which is a whole other ball of wax.
The whole global supply chain is completely backed up, not only from shipping in product, but also from shipping source materials. So even if New Era was running their factories at 100%, they may not even have enough source materials to actually make the hats, because the global supply chain has impacted wool, and cotton and cardboard and plastic and all sorts
Yeah.
of stuff.
We've
Yeah,
heard
so
crazy
let's-
stories of them running out of buttons, them running out
Oh,
of
yeah.
a certain color of fabric. Like,
Absolutely.
You know?
They probably have had to, I'm not going to say this with certainty, but they probably had to abandon certain fabrics because they can't source them now in certain colors. Now, I'm going to rewind a little bit about 2.5 months ago, maybe 3 months ago, when we started to hear about allocation restrictions, meaning, well, maybe 2 months ago, meaning that you had reps with New Era that are being told, hey, listen, this is your allocation. This is the number of hats that you can allocate for your accounts, right? So then, from what I understand, those reps have to identify, right, based on the account size and what they deliver, whatever, here's how I'm going to allocate X amount of hats across my accounts, right? That makes sense. It's like, all right, we got to temper some of this. We can't have the faucet running at full power. We got to kind of let it trickle a little bit. We can't, because we can't handle all this, right? Makes total sense. Any company who is kind of faced with this would do the same thing because there's no other option. So you either keep trying to shove this stuff in there that we can't handle, or you slow it down, pace, and do the right thing to get things back on track. Now, let's move to today. Today, it's like, nope. From what I understand, no more orders are going to be placed right now.
Yeah, they're so backed up that that's my understanding too. Is there's a temporary what's the word I'm looking for? Blockade on all
or a
new
hold,
orders.
like a hold, right?
Yeah,
like
a hold.
Now, I don't know how that affects each specific like retailer. I'm sure like maybe Lids and Hat Club, they might have, because there's such a, like Lids is the number one customer for New Era by a mile, by a country mile. So it's like, all right, that might be a little bit different, right? So maybe they're getting, maybe they might not even be getting that. So at the end of the day, I wouldn't expect any new shit for a while.
No, that China factory may have just changed the nameplate on the front of the factory to just Lids. Who knows? Right? Instead of just making products for New Era and all their customers, they're just shipping.
Well, what comes before Lids? What comes before Lids is something much bigger, and that's MLB. So
MLB has their separate factory though in Miami, do they not?
For on-field. For
on-field. But I'm sure what's most important, I'm guessing, I shouldn't say I'm sure. What's most important to New Era is the relationship with MLB.
Sure.
So when it comes down to it, like anything associated with MLB would probably come first, because if MLB goes,
the whole thing.
New Era
is gone.
Is not gone, but the whole landscape would drastically change.
Yeah,
I mean,
like you would think that they want their MLB teams to stock their stadiums to recoup some of the money they lost during the pandemic. So I would understand that would take a huge priority over mom and pop shop and
MLB shop and all the team sites too. Or should always have stock of at least the on-field hats.
So I mean, listen, that's the grim part of it all, right? So. But that's the reality. So like everyone's wondering, why are we calling it a drought? Because there are none coming. So like at some point you're going to see it. You're going to be like, holy shit. Like, why is nobody have new product?
Yeah. Take a look at the clues, right? You haven't seen a Hat Club pre-order this year. I think they did one, right? And I think to me purposely, they didn't do a good one.
Right. And bots are not. Like things are drying up quicker every drop. That's because the depth to quantity is different, right?
And the demand continues to go up.
Yeah, demand is, and this is making it worse. It's like, because it's almost like that girl in high school you wanted to date and she was just blowing you off. You wanted her more, and that's happening on a grander scale right now, right? And same for the ladies. If you were looking to date a guy and he was playing hard to get, you wanted him more, and that's kind of like what's going on right now. And but it's going to end at some point. They're going to get this thing fixed. They're going to get it right. The pandemic's going to calm down. And things are going to get back to normal, and it's going to ramp up again. But you're in for some lean times.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of folks may become disengaged, but I think most people are going to become even more engaged because they're going to be yearning for these things. So, a couple of things, right? So I was thinking about this, like, what can you do in these leaner times from a new product standpoint? And like things like eBay, looking for, I'm not saying going to overpay for everything, but maybe it's about shifting to some older stuff, some vintage stuff, whatever, man. Maybe it's about going into stores, because a lot of stores like, Pro Images, Lids, places like that are still going to have product on their shelves for quite a while, right? It's not going to be like toilet paper where every store is going to be empty, pandemic wise, but this is where everyone has to get a little bit more creative, leverage each other. Like, you have friends that might live across the country, if they see something, have them tell you about it. And don't spend all this extra crazy money on proxy, but find some friends that can help you out in different areas and keep your eyes open. That's and just continue to find these new creative ways to look for hats, because they're not going to be provided to you the same way. And it might be refreshing for you. You may find a hat on eBay that's easier to get a hold of than one on a hat club drop at 2 p.m. on a Wednesday. That's just the reality of it, right?
Yeah.
But what are your thoughts, guys? Anything else you can think of that can kind of help along the way over the next couple of months as people are working through these leaner times? I'm sorry.
We've seen, especially this year, a pop-up of a secondary market that's not hats, but accessories in the hat related world. So like pins and blips and boxes and drawings and all that stuff. I mean, maybe it's time to start looking into that a little bit more, or maybe
it's time to organize.
Yeah. Like,
look at Leon.
I definitely can throw a couple $1,000s into.
I have stacks of hats here. I mean,
organization.
And actually, this past weekend, I just cleaned out a space in my house so I can actually start getting that organized. So
yeah, look at me, right? Like, I'm organized, right? I'm not gonna. I mean, you got the gum pack, the liquor pack, the Paris Fashion Week pack. You got, I don't need to do that, but I do think if you're someone that's got hats all over the goddamn place, take this time, put that money you're going to spend in hats, and go and finally do what you wanted to do. Which there's no more fear of missing out. Take that time and effort and that money and put it into like an organization solution that's right for you. There's all kinds of cool things you can do right now. And Jason, you brought up some great stuff, like the accessorizing of the hats, if you like pins, whatever the hell. I mean, whatever it is, man, do something.
Jerseys or shirts to go match some of the hundreds of hats that we already have. That's the thing. Like, you don't need to go chasing down this one hat that does release in the future for $250, $300, $400. Use that money and go, accessorize one of the hats that you already have that you've maybe worn one time.
Or go buy 50 plastic bins and organize your hats.
Or organize hats. Or start, ramping up your photography skills. Start organizing hat meetups. Flea market.
But going back to what you just said, maybe it's an opportunity to catalog your hats, right? Maybe that's
absolutely,
because there's no more coming in. Maybe that's a time to pause and just categorize and kind of collate all your hats, like on an Instagram account, whatever it is.
RCO,
Real Collectors Only. That's a good app to utilize for that. But Leon, any thoughts from you on other ways to kind of spend that time or that money?
It's tough, right? Like, I don't know. There's a lot of verbiage that people, put out there. I need, right? So I think what you talked about, some of my closest friends I met through, like you, I met through helping. Like, you helped me grab a Yankee hat, even though you're a diehard Boston fan, and me when I could return the favor, and other people, it's you got to work the relationships. Don't just be the person that take, right?
Yeah, right.
Maybe sometimes you got to lose a little bit of time,
or maybe it's not even about getting something. Maybe it's just about using this time to build better relationships in the hat community.
Exactly.
Maybe that's what it's for.
I just thought of one other idea.
Yeah, I'd love to
Um,
hear it.
And that would be use this time to actually purge your collection and put some hats back out into the world.
Well, it's a seller's market right
it-
now.
Yeah,
It's a
well,
seller's market right
I'm
now.
not saying go start gouging people from some of the hats you have in the past, but I know that here, I mean, I just went through a huge buying phase, especially when I was ramping up my collection.
Mhm.
And there's probably some hats in here that I just really don't need anymore. So
Maybe it's trading. Maybe it's not even selling. Maybe it's
trading. Yeah, just I definitely do need to clean up this collection. This thing's bothering the hell out of me.
No, you see what I mean? Like if you think
Yeah.
about it, right? It can still look at Leon, look behind Leon. Like take some time, like, figure out what you're gonna do and maybe reevaluate where you want your collection to go. Because I think everyone gets like so caught up in the moment. They're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I don't want to miss, I don't want to miss. And then you start to veer off the track that you were originally on. Now that could be okay with you, or it could be like a good time to reset and be like, wait a second, maybe I'm not as into this as I thought I was. Let me get back over to here. Or maybe I want to shift gears a little bit. I have so many baseball hats. Maybe I want to go down the football road. Maybe I want to go down the NBA road. Maybe I want to go down just the minor league road. A time to just pause, take a deep breath. And not everyone can do what like I do or Leon does, which is dabble in everything. Not everybody can. Maybe it's about just focusing your energies in the right place and saying, hey, I want to redefine where I'm going with the rest of my collection. That could be it, right? Right? So I don't know. I'd love to hear in the comments what people have to say too. What do you guys think about the drought? What do you think about what are you going to do to utilize that time in a way that still connects to hats, because we all love hats, but not necessarily connecting to copying new hats, because it's not only is there less product, but I mean, at some points there's going to be some stores that don't put out anything for a while, and when they do, that's going to be so hard to even cop at that point. I mean, but I'd love to hear from everybody in the comments. As always, Jason and Leon, I absolutely love these discussions with you because you guys bring a nice, fresh perspective, and I like how it just organically turns into different ideas and stuff. It's just good. I just enjoy this kind of stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And any last words, guys, before we wrap up?
Just don't get frustrated. It's going to change. Bide your time. Don't go out and have the huge case of FOMO and be spending $500-600. It's just a hat.
Yeah. And it can be reordered and brought back for the most part.
When things open up, we're going to see them all over again. So just relax, take a deep breath, make some friends, clean up your closet, which I know I'm going to do. And
All right, cool. Leon, anything from you before we wrap up, big fella?
I just want to repeat the same thing, that the kind of what you guys are talking about, take some time, self-care Sundays, clean your room. I know you're looking at really messy backgrounds, so I've been putting it off. But yeah, like just, we'll get through this together. We'll try to come up with different stuff to talk about. We've already kind of shifted into sports.
The Jeopardy game will be cool. The sports stuff will be cool.
Some versus battles.
The more I think about that, the more scared I'm getting.
What, the Jeopardy thing?
Because you don't want to lose the hatter. That's why.
Right. Just keep the baseball questions to a minimum. He'll destroy me in those.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no president's questions, please. I'm Canadian.
Yeah, so like the categories would be random baseball facts, presidents that appeared on baseball caps. Like, I'll gear it towards Hatter. But listen, guys, this was a very good conversation. Thank you both. Leon, you ready to take us away, big fella?
Yeah. Make sure you guys let us know in the comments, how you're feeling about it. If you guys have any other topics you want us to cover in the future, let us know. Viewsfromthevault.com to get your official merchandise. Hats coming soon. Until next time, Pierre, Leon, and Jason, we out, guys. Stay fitted.
See you, everybody.
Peace.